All right, hello and welcome to project number 6 of online graphic design with Youth Tech Inc. So, again, for this project, you're going to need Photopea.com already pulled up on your laptop. And so, for this particular project, what we're doing is we're going to be creating a movie poster. So, now you can definitely recreate a poster for one of your own favorite movies. It's definitely an option, or you can just create a completely new fictionalized movies. So you get to choose. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and click on New Project, and we'll wait for this window to pop up. So we'll probably be doing print, and we can pick any kind of size of poster that we want. So you know what? I'm probably going to go with A3, and I'm going to go ahead and click Create. And so this is going to become my poster here. So for this poster, it's the best way to kind of go about a movie poster is typically in the very very bottom layer in the background they include some sort of photo from the movie. So maybe a photo of the actors or maybe a photo from a scene or something. So if you are recreating a poster from one of your favorite movies that already exists, I would recommend going on Google and just finding a photo or a screen capture, a screenshot from some point during that movie. And if you're going to create your own, feel free to take a photo, maybe of your brother or your sister or a parent or somebody, a friend. And the type of photo that you'll want to take is called a portrait photo, so something that's really tight, very close up. I downloaded a stock photo off the internet. Um, that's just very basic. So it's just a completely random stock photo. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that in here. So it's loading, and I need to go ahead and resize it. So here we go. And I lost the actor there, so I'll need to go ahead and resize it here. Here we go, and hold down Shift. Here we go, almost there. A little bit too big. There we go. All right, so that looks pretty good. And then we'll go ahead and hit the check mark. Okay, so this is what I mean by a portrait photo. So this is a stock photo that I pulled off of online, and it's just a random photo, and it's close up, so it's called a portrait. And so this is just going to be the photo that exists in the background. So I'll go ahead and leave that like that. And the first thing, and this is kind of a combination of some of the things that we've already learned so far in Photopea, I'm going to make some image adjustments. So I'm going to go ahead and change a little bit of the exposure levels here. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click on exposure. So I'm just going to make a couple edits to the image itself. I'm going to pull this to the side so we can see our preview window. So I'm going to actually turn our exposure down just so that I can make the photo a little bit darker, like that. And then I'll take my offset and I'll bring it up to kind of make everything a little bit faded. And I'll bring my gamma correction down to increase the contrast here. So now that I've done that, I could, if I wanted to, you could leave it as is if you really wanted to because there's a solid background, but still, I decided to make some edits. This way I could probably use white text on it if I wanted to. So now that we've got our photo, the next thing that we want to do is we want to insert a new layer, and we need to start thinking about how are we going to arrange the title of our movie. So, we've got, someone who's wearing glasses here, so maybe the name of our movie is going to be Wearing Glasses. So let's go ahead and type that out. And this is again just for starters here. So Wearing Glasses, and I'm going to make the font even bigger. So let's go for 200. and probably still a little bit bigger. Let's go for 300. Let's go for 350. There we go. Now we're starting to get to a pretty good size. Actually, let's go all the way to 400. All right, pretty good. So wearing glasses. Now we could just center our title to start off here like this, and we could, you know, this is a simple approach to it. This is just pretty straightforward, wearing glasses, and so you know, we could definitely leave something like this. I think I'm gonna make the text here a little bit bolder, so let's change the font up a little bit here. Maybe this. Let's see how this works. Alright, so let's say that we, that looks a little bit like it's a kind of a Halloween font or a scary font or something. Let's try again here. Let's find a good font here for this. Okay, let's go with, trying to find a bold font here. Okay, yeah, here's a pretty good looking font. And we'll go with regular, and let's move this to the middle. And we'll probably actually make this even a bit bigger, so let's make this to 500. There's the middle, there's our wearing glasses. And so one of the things to look at when you're putting text over a picture is look at your dead space. So, you know, the person in this photo is on the left hand side. So we've got space up here where we can put our title. And then we've got all of this space along the right hand side where we could put some of our any other information that you wanted to include on a movie poster. Now, if we look at the bottom too, even though the man's shirt is here, because there's not a face there, because there's not a lot of detail, it's just a white shirt, you could also constitute the bottom of this photo as dead space in a photo as well, which again, when you're putting text on a photo, like I said, you want to look for the dead space because that's where your eyes are going to kind of best rest when reading text. So let's go ahead and add some text to the bottom of our photo here, and we will just say starring, and let's make this text smaller. Let's make this to 80 maybe. That's not too small. Let's do 80. That's probably too small. Let's do 150. Okay, so we'll do starring. Okay, starring a guy wearing glasses, produced by Youth Tech Inc. And let's go ahead and move this in a little bit. And let's make this a little bit smaller. Let's do 125. So produced by Youth Tech Inc. And let's make sure that this is nice and centered. And then we'll go ahead and hit enter. Now, one of the things that you want to kind of avoid doing is you want to avoid having your text stretch from side to side. So you'll notice that I have some margins on it, which helps it make it look nice. And we'll say directed by the graphic design students. And then we'll hit enter one more time, and we'll write in all caps, coming to theaters this August. And this particular line at the bottom, we're going to make bigger than the rest. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to change this to 300. And then I select all of my text here. I select center align, which centers it all, and then I'm going to drag this back, and so the bottom text I made too big, so let's try making this smaller. Let's do 240. Okay, so that's probably, well, let's probably go with 220 instead. There we go. All right. So here's kind of our information at the bottom, and we'll go ahead and we'll add some different font to this. So let's change this font to something more kind of uniform, just to change it up a little bit. Let's just play around with this font, see how this looks. And it's taking a second to load. Okay, so there we go. It's got kind of a bold focus here. And we need to make the bottom line even smaller. There we go. Alright, so there's our information at the bottom. Another kind of text way to think about text in graphic design is just like we talked about dead space, and just like we edited our image to help set off some of the contrast between putting white text on white. Another thing to think about is hierarchy. So your eyes are always going to start at the top of an image. So that's of course why we put the title at the top. But not only will your eyes read from left to right and from top to bottom, but they're also going to look at the biggest text first. So that's why the wearing glasses is the biggest text. And then you have your details about who produced the work in smaller text. And then you have your time of when this is going to come to theaters in bigger and bolder text in all caps compared to the details. So even though who produced the movie, even though it's above the theaters, coming to theaters this August is meant to draw more attention than the details of who starred in the movie. So that's just kind of another thing to be aware of is the hierarchy of text. Now let's talk about this dead space over here on the right hand side. So ideally we don't want to leave this completely empty because this is quite a bit of space. So oftentimes in movies, in these types of locations, they'll put things such as like a rating or like a quote from like a magazine that says that their movie is very good. So let's go ahead and add something like that. So to start off, I'm going to click on the custom shape and the shape, there we go, and I'm going to go ahead and get it going here. So the shape that we want is a star because I'm going to create like an award kind of thing. So we're going to give it a second to load here, load up the shapes, and then maybe we'll add like a little bit of a quote too. So here we are, here's our different shapes. Let's look for a star of sorts. Here we go, here's a star. Alright, so here's my star, and I'm going to have it be white, and I'm going to make 5 of these stars, and I'm going to put them right here. So let's go ahead and copy and paste these a couple of times. So edit, copy, edit, paste. Well, it looks like that didn't work. Let's try that one more time. Edit, copy, edit, paste. There we go. And then let's try this one more time. Paste. Alright, and there we go. There's our third star, and we got 2 more. There's our fourth, and let's add a fifth. Alright, so there's our stars. Now here's another thing that we could do if we wanted. We could also move these stars down just a little bit. So for example, we could move this star down. Actually, let's move both of these down at the same time. Trying to move these downward. There we go. So these go downward, and then the layer 3 is going to go down as well. And that kind of just creates another little, you know, theme or a little bit of a shape with the stars there. Just something to do. And so now we'll add text right here, and we're going to type out the quote. So let's make this font like 90, and we'll just say this movie. Oh, I'm typing in the size box still. So let's click back in the text box here. This movie really brings out the color in the glasses. And that's going to be our quote. And so we'll highlight this. We'll make this even a little bit bigger. So let's go for, say, 140. And then we're going to move this over to the side here. There we go. And let's click on it one more time. Let's open up editing, and we're going to right set it. Move it over again. Okay, here's our text, and we'll click on it. And we're going to break up the text to, whoops, let's try that again. Okay, so we'll break it up. Maybe we need to left set it, actually. And then we'll go ahead and hit enter again. Okay, and so there's our quote. And we'll just drag this down kind of near the stars. And then for our last kind of trick here, we're going to insert another new text layer here, and this is going to be 200 big, and this is just going to be a simple quote mark, and actually it should be even bigger than that, so we're going to go with 450. And we're going to put it out to the side like that, and let's actually change the font of that to something else. So let's find another good font to use. Maybe we'll try this. There we go. So now if we look at our movie poster here, we have wearing glasses. This movie really brings out the color in the glasses, starring a guy wearing glasses, produced by Youth Tech Inc., directed by the graphic design students, coming to theaters this August. So this is a very basic example of just something that you could do Feel free to make it your own. Like I said, feel free to remake a movie that's already been made, or feel free to create your own. And so then once you're done with the movie poster project, feel free to go ahead and move on to photography project number 2. And then once you're done with that, project number 7, which is the magazine cover, and we will see you there.